Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. SICW.
Welcome to Square Read Podcast, everybody. Episode 79. Man, we're getting long in the tooth here, Jim. 79 already.
Hey, doesn't even feel like it.
No, it feels like yesterday we were born. Under a rock. Behind a whorehouse.
Maybe you. As you guys can see, Bobby D is not with us tonight. Well, he will be, possibly. You know, Bobby D is, has 3 kids, and they're all in every kind of sport you can think of, and he's running a little behind, so he might hop in a little later. But we kind of want to start off with something that Nate broke early Sunday morning, and it was from none other than Stephen E. So let's watch this together again, just so everyone else can get what this message is.
I still think he's hiding in his cave. That's why the quality was so bad. But, all right, let's hear Stephen E. Go at it.
Southern Illinois Championship Wrestling. Stephen E. here, the leader of Devastation Incorporated. And I have got some wonderful news. It's great news. You see, I just got off of the phone with some of my investors in the Middle East, and they have informed me that there has been an agreement reached. That's right, SICW. There has been an agreement reached for the purchase of SICW, and October 5th, there will be a contract signing at the Belle Claire Fairground. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're in attendance to witness history, because after October 5th, SICW will take on a whole new direction. For all you know, it may end up Saudi Arabian Championship Wrestling.
And that is just horrible news if that comes to tuition or whatever.
Flourishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Stephen E. forgot one important thing. It's not SACW, it's SICW.
You know, when I first heard that, I was thinking, that's not how you spell that, but, you know.
I guess that heat in the Middle East is getting to him.
Right. Now, this past weekend on SICW All-Star Wrestling, I got to sit down with Herb and talk about some things. Talking about my match on the same night, October 5th, with Kowalski, and talking about this contract signing that, Herb has got with Stephen E. Now, I've asked him a lot of questions during that little sit-down interview, but nothing was really answered. And, he kept telling me, well, you'll have to find out the same way everyone else does, October the 5th. And I was like, but I'm your champion. And I even told him, you guys can rewatch that, where I was like, I'm your champion. How can I be a champion defending this company when I don't even know what I might be defending? Because if it's a Stephen E. ran promotion, do I really want to be defending its championship? But Herb kept saying that he had signed a non-disclosure agreement, that he couldn't go into the details until the actual date of October the 5th, which I think is crazy. You're just leaving so many questions on the table and so many rumors to be spoken. And I guess, it all comes down to it. I can't change his answers, and I can't answer for him because I don't know what's going on, really. So I guess we all have to wait until October 5th. So I guess, everyone who's, asking the same questions, come down to the fairgrounds in Belleville, Illinois, October the 5th. Starts at 7. If Bobby was on here, I don't know if Bobby knows who he's wrestling. But, my match is for the classic title, and it's going to be me versus Kowalski. And, man, it's a big match because falls count anywhere. It's no DQ. no count out, no nothing. You know, it's pretty much anything goes. And
And I think you have a little bit of payback on what happened on Saturday at our NHRA event.
right.
That
Before you,
okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, before you show that, I was just going to say, you know, his manager, Lucky P. Larson, the only benefit that I got going into this match is that manager is going to be handcuffed to the ring. So, I mean, I got that going for me. But it being a no DQ, anything goes, really, you know, there's a lot more than Kowalski in that group. So I just got to watch my back at the same time. Yeah, so this is, you know, of course, the match from Saturday when we were at the racetrack. You know, it was, well, this is Bobby D here.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. I kept resetting it. Bear with me. I'm preparing a whole lot of stuff, even a rebuttal to You're the Classics champion. I have photo and video evidence that you may not be after what happened on on Saturday. That was for our tag team belts there. Okay, here we go. I found it.
All right, so yeah, so I was pinned up against an old, I guess you'd say an old friend, now enemy, Waco. You know, he was my tag team partner forever and a day. Um, but it was a pretty easy fight. You know, I ended up fighting him outside, chopping him all over the place. And I got an awesome lariat off on Waco. He was trying to jump off the rope, and well, actually, he was trying to kick me from the corner, which he was on top of the top rope, and I yanked him off and clotheslined him at the same time, which that allowed me to get the pin.
Yeah, it was a great shot, though. The crowd all the way around, it was awesome.
Yeah, so that got me the pin. But as I was celebrating, Kowalski was actually in the audience, and he jumped me from behind here. So, you know, you already have one match. And then you end up, basically, we had a small mini match here going on because no one was there to break it up. And, whoo, I was so lucky I got out of that because that would have squashed me.
Well, what is he, 450 now, Kowalski?
Yeah, 450 pounds. Now, there's a, you know, video of the crowd. You know, it was like a hush over the crowd and like, oh, you know. And then when he went to jump, you know, you could hear it in the video, them cussing, oh, shit, you know, and that was.
Yep. There's the mayor of Madison County, and then general manager of the racetrack was along there. I'm surprised you didn't take it to them. Crowd participation, Jim. One of the Twin Towers should be going down. Is that too soon of a joke?
But, you know, I hit him twice with that belt, hit him against the guardrail, and this guy would not go down. And right here, I was looking for something to get him with, and I was going to throw sand in his face. So I like reached down in that bucket, and it was concrete, so it didn't help me anything. But I did manage to smack him against this. And there's a perfect picture that Adam Hamlin had, and it's of Kowalski against the trailer, and they're all pointing down at him, and they're laughing. The people on that trailer.
Yeah. Derek Baker from Derek Baker and Baker's Banter, I'll get it right, and his sister.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool kid. Now,
Yeah,
he had
he's pretty awesome.
previously interviewed an author that did a book basically wrapped around wrestling fans. And there was a whole chapter in that book about him, which was very cool. So, I got to meet him. Herb called me out. We gave him an autographed SICW shirt that had everyone's autograph on it.
Yeah, no. You got it, buddy. You got it. Well, great for coming out. I got a little gift for you. Oh, wow. Is that okay? Can I give you a gift? Sure. My mom got me this. Good. Signed by all the wrestlers. What? Yeah, signed by all of them. I'm sure you got. Yeah.
Now, this kid really loves wrestling, and there's videos that he's posted and WWE's posted inviting him in and letting him meet the wrestlers of WWE, and same thing for AEW. So that was kind of cool that he loves wrestling so much.
And he's a huge Texan fan.
Huh?
Said he's a huge Texan fan.
Yeah. He definitely was, because I went after the match. I just went to give him a little pound, and no, he grabbed my hand and like raised it up and said, "Man, you are the man." That was a great moment. But yeah, totally cool kid. His family's all cool, and it's awesome if you ever get around to going to his TikTok or his Instagram. It's basically just showing the day in the life of basically, and
he has a website also, bakerbanter.com. You can go get his merch, help him out with his daily
he's got
needs.
merch.
He does.
That's awesome. It's just really cool. There was a video I was watching him where he was setting his personal PR record on lifting weights. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the video of him and Cody Rhodes talking backstage at AEW, and then CM Punk, starts walking in the frame, and like he totally drops Cody Rhodes, and this becomes all about CM Punk. And it was so funny too, because he thought Cody Rhodes was so good, and he was all about Cody until CM Punk walked in the room, and then he like totally switched.
If John Cena would have walked in, he would have forgot everybody.
I don't know. It depends.
You don't see me in front of her.
Right. But yeah, it's very cool. His time is limited, so I don't think he was able to stick around and watch a lot of the other wrestling matches that were going on.
Well, he was sponsored by NHRA, so they brought him out for the track, but stayed for the race, or brought him out for the races. I think he watched through before going back to the races, didn't he?
I don't know, because I heard from the wrestlers in the second match saying that they didn't see him out there. So, I mean, great kid, and fully behind the Texans, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't see most of the crowd because I was up by the Edelbrock trailer. So
I'll tell you what, that day was a very hard day, I guess you would say, in a way. Our guy that sets up the ring needed help, so I came out there at 7:30, put up the ring, and we weren't supposed to wrestle until like 2:00, but we get there and no one is set up to feed us.
you're gonna have to repeat that. Your dogs are drowning you out.
Right, of course. This is their time to bark.
Yeah, when Daddy wants to do some work, time to bark.
But so anyhow, so we set up the ring at 7:30. and none of the places were open for food, so we couldn't buy a hamburger or buy anything. So by the time the ring was set up and everything was going, they moved us on to the locker room, and then we stayed into the locker room until we had to wrestle, which that time kept getting pushed back, because we were supposed to start at 2, then it was 2:30, then it was 3 o'clock, and then I think it ended up being 3:30 before we actually wrestled. Looks like the dogs are fighting now.
Yep. Well, it was a little after 3 because Monster was there, and the representative from Monster kept coming down and bugging me because they brought some country music star out, and at 3 they were supposed to start. He was supposed to start his little concert thing.
Yeah.
So they came to me, and when you and Derek were up in the ring, when that was about 3 o'clock, and we started about 10 minutes after that. And so if you hear country music, people, while you're on our page and you're watching some of the highlights and the footage when we post it, that country music is that country music star. I don't remember his name. And the reason why it's there is Monster asked us to delay, and I said no, to just go ahead and have their country singer sing. And
well, I tell you, I lived off that Monster because, they were handing out free Monsters, so I grabbed one, drank it. While I was waiting to go into the wrestling ring, drink another one, and then on the way back from wrestling, I grabbed one, and that's the only thing I had the whole day until I got home. So it was kind of crazy.
yeah, me too. That kid was a lifesaver a bunch of times. He would walk by and go, "You want another one?" Like, bring it on over. Just stack them on the table.
But
he never left the wrestling arena. But welcome home, Bobby.
Thanks.
And let's get into it. Bobby brought some gold back to the squared ring.
Oh, I should probably go grab that.
No.
I'm not used to having it anymore.
Yeah. So we have your gold, Bobby's gold, and I'm still a loser with no gold.
I'm sure we can give you some gold teeth or something if you want.
Well, yeah, I do have my cool posters from our press junket from the Roadhouse that nobody seemed to like except for me. But there we go.
So that's actually pretty cool because I didn't know Bobby won the Central States title back.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. Brought the gold home.
Beat the superstar once again.
He was none too happy.
I didn't see that match, of course, because I didn't know that you won it. But I heard it was a good match. It was, back and forth. Do you have footage of that one?
Oh, I have everything, as always.
I say I do want a copy of that. That I do think it was a good match myself.
It was a really good match. Overcast, just pretty much a great match. I
he's one
enjoyed
of
the
those
match.
guys that will always get you to step up to that next level.
And now this is unedited, so you will get the win. And no, folks, those dogs are not at the racetrack.
There's a lot of dogs at that show.
I know.
I know.
I don't remember that many there. They like me. Channeling my inner Rey Mysterio with that shirt.
That's what I was asking. Well, I was going to ask.
I got a lot of the black shirts, and I only read one tour, so I just kind of did that. And there he jumps before I even get all the way in the ring.
Hey, Steve knows how to take off your shirt real easy.
He can chop, too. I'll give him that.
Your face a squeaky toy? Damn.
I tell you, these fucking dogs.
Bobby, you have a chop-a-thon coming up that the crowd love.
I do like chop. I feel like I'm decent at it. Let's say there's a big old former tag champion of ours at SICW where we're in a battle royal and I was chopping someone else, turned towards him and heard him say, "Hell no," and then walked away. He might be the first one to legit get out of that on his own. With me. You know, people like Bret Hart that can't do it as well as me, they've had other people get out. But
I'd bring Brett on and have him come to the ring. You can challenge each other, yeah?
So let me ask, since he lost to Central States, does that mean he's not in line for the AIWF World Heavyweight title?
I would assume so, because when you heard his challenge last week on TV, that's what it was. It was, when I defend this title, then you cannot deny me. I am next in line. He didn't defend him.
Huh?
Well, I mean,
I
he
think
defended
maybe
him.
I should be taking his place as next in line.
Does he have the IAWF TV champion challenge or belt? Which one does he have?
I believe that's the one. Yeah. With all that blood rushing, boom.
It's a stand there, let the dizzy go away. Nothing like wrestling with a big sign of cold beer in the background. Love those guys in the background just dying laughing.
So, Bobby, do you know who you got this Saturday?
No, I'm going to throw a challenge out there. Just excited to defend my title. I'm actually probably going to record that after we get done here and post it out there.
Okay.
Whoever wants to answer the challenge.
You never know. This might be Nate's night. He might accept that challenge.
Bring it on, Nate.
Hell yeah. Andy asked me to sign Derek's shirt, and I go, what for?
Well,
Like,
you
he
never
doesn't-
know. You might become a very famous producer of wrestling.
Yeah.
Pretty sure those were closed fists, too. It felt closed.
Well, Steve's not known to play by the rules.
Fair enough. I like how you can see the fans up there at the top of the grandstands, just like looking over the back at us.
You're lucky you only got one of those punches. He normally does like 3 or 4 of those things.
Chop-a-thon. You have any bruises left?
Nah, I've done this a while. One of them things right there where we've been wrestling so long, wrestling each other so long, like you just know what each other's going to do. Just how can you get creative and counter it? But for that German, like I said, he's wrestled me and knows what I'm going to do just as well. This was a little new though. I've never had a super kick from him.
You've been watching YouTube, so you want to be a wrestler. Man, look at that chest on him. You made that red.
There we go. Now I got the German in.
Okay, we won't tell your wife.
Took too long to load up that boot.
This is actually a really great event. This is our 3rd time that we've been racing. We've been wrestling at the races. And the crowds just keep getting bigger and bigger for us. As you can see, the stands, the grandstands in the background where everyone's just turned around watching. And then the crowd, of course, that gathered to watch. Now, the races are still going on while we are wrestling, and we still drew so many fans, and I thought that was really neat.
I say not just the racing either. There were 3 aisles full of trailers with like the racers that weren't racing had the cars out, and some of them running, and people were crowding around those all day. We were drawing away from both of those things.
Yeah, and Monsters Country Music Singer had absolutely nobody there.
Well, that's because they had to see me win my title.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were coming down so they can say, hey, we want to sponsor your guys' podcast. But
Well,
no.
now they probably don't want to since, we kind of drowned them out, wrestling while he was on singing.
If they want to sponsor the podcast, I will put their emblem on the back of my shirt to wrestle them. Because I do love to do
I'll redo this to say monster in the squared ring. We all buy their product anyway.
Right. Well, so that was Saturday's show. Now there was another 1 or 2 matches. The tag straps was on the line as well. Curtis and Billy, I think they went against Glenn Williams and Trent Daniels. So other matches was on that show, but I think it was just cool that we were able to wrap up. We were given 3 dates for the racetrack, and we fulfilled all 3 dates. And from what I gather, they're already talking about what they're going to do next year.
Well, I can give you a little insight to that. So after that match, I was, kissing babies and shaking hands, as they say, and talking to some kids and asked them if they had a good time, and said, I think, we're going to be back next year. And the guy that runs everything, he cut me off in front of everybody there. He's like, you guys are scheduled for 6 times next year. I have you.
Yeah, that's what Mike was telling me when we were sitting in the suites. I asked him about next year's schedule. Yeah, and that's what he told me too.
We are booked next year. Like, they want us back. We're doing something right.
He told me starting in July.
I mean, that's cool. Hopefully we get some other dates, like Sunday's date or something like that. I think that'd be cool because So far, we've been doing Saturdays, which is their preliminary, races. But it would be kind of cool to be there on a Sunday and actually be the day that the finals are held. Um, I don't know, just to see the difference on the fans, because I know a lot of people don't show up to a Friday or a Saturday. They only show up for the finals, which is on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool to see what the difference is. I mean, either way, we
Well,
seem to be drawing a great crowd when we're there. So
yeah, next year's NASCAR date is the NASCAR Playoff Series, so it's a playoff race at Worldwide Tech, and we're scheduled for that. So that's going to be a large crowd, larger than the 70,000 that came out this year.
yes, that'll be very cool. And we got so many dates that we still got to finish up for this year. We're going to Breeze here pretty soon. We got the
Yep, I
Mac
was just
Show.
looking at October 26th, it looks like. That's actually, I found out one of my buddies that's running that.
Oh yeah.
I used to coach his son at the Little Devils, little Matthew Walsh, taller than me now. But his dad started the wrestling program out there. Last year was their first year. Did a lot of out-of-pocket costs, like with mats and singlets and everything. And so they're hoping to raise some money to, send kids to tournaments this year, so it's not all out of pocket.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
We got Fairmont City coming up as well. We have.
And looking at Herb's page, they just signed a new match for that. Did you see that? El Diablo versus Toro. Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like we're gonna have a little luchador match going on.
Yeah. So our good buddy El Diablo is going to be there. So it's always great to have him in. We'll see.
Go to one of our past podcasts, which you can link. Get some more info on him, some backstory.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. There's one more show that I'm trying to. The Shriners. We're going back to the Shriners on the 19th of this month. Well, technically,
aren't you still the belt holder for them, Jim?
I am. And matter of fact, over the weekend, the Shriners did a thing at the fairgrounds. It was a meat shoot / gun raffle. And I tell you, I've never seen the fairgrounds so packed. And, I was there with the belt, and, they announced me, and then, I was standing there, taking pictures and, high-fiving people and, shaking babies. I mean, shaking hands and kissing babies. And, it was great. I've never been there before for that particular event. And there were so many Shriners there. And so I'm hoping that all those Shriners get together on October the 19th, I think it is that. And there's a mystery cage match. It's on the flyer. It says there's going to be a cage match that night. And I asked Herb that day, which was Sunday, I was like, so who's in this cage match? And he goes, well, you know what? I can't tell you yet. And he goes, but it should be probably the champion. So what I'm assuming, if I can retain the belt this Saturday, October 5th at the fairgrounds, then more than likely.
I need to take a break real quick, so I'm going to put this up because I don't know if I'm going to be back by the time we get to it. So, one sec.
All right. Yeah, I assume that if I'm the champion still after this October 5th, which in all body, mind, and soul I'm going to be, but looks like I have a cage match here in my future, which is fine. I've been in many cage matches. Just last year at that same event, Axe Allwork had a shot at the title in the cage. And then the buddy you just beat, Steve Fender, I had him in the cage too. And that one was at Fairmont City. So it's interesting to see what plans lie ahead for, even now that you're the champion, the Central States.
Maybe he means this champion.
Yeah, it could be you.
Maybe both champions going against each other in it.
That'd be interesting. But yeah, definitely some cool events coming up in SICW's future. And, go to sicw.org. They'll explain more of the dates and the cities and towns that we're going to be in. Because I know we're in November, we're at the fairgrounds 2 dates. So it's just crazy. So many dates that we got to fulfill before the year is out. Which, can you believe the year is almost out? Tomorrow will be October the 1st. And it's just, to me, it's crazy how fast this year has gone by.
All right, I finally found it, and you were correct. October 19th for the Shriners Hall.
Yeah. But, so what Nate posted up here is, it's got Kane and it's got Pete Rose on there. Bobby, I don't know if you heard that Pete Rose passed away tonight.
I did not.
Earlier today. So there was a couple slides that I sent Nate, but since he's not here, we can't go through it. But the Pete Rose King feud pretty much started at WrestleMania, I think it was 14, and I know it was in Boston. He came out suit and tie, and he was known for beating Boston in the World Series, and he came out just bad mouthing the town, bad mouthing their baseball team, and then all of a sudden you hear Kane's music, and he comes out, grabs them, and then tombstones them, and just leaves them lying there in the ring. And that started the whole feud between Pete Rose and Kane, because it wasn't every year. I think it was every other year that Pete Rose would just come in, and one time he even dressed as a mascot.
I said, didn't he dress as a chicken once?
Yeah, it was. It was one of the towns. I think it was the Phillies mascot. Maybe, I don't know. It was a mascot. It was a chicken, and he jumped Kane from behind, but then Kane grabbed him, grabbed his mask off, and of course it was Pete Rose, and so he threw him in the ring and tombstoned him again. And this happened, I think, a total like 3 times. But they eventually, WWE put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I actually tried to catch that on YouTube, and I guess it's not on YouTube anymore. But Peacock is so hard to, back when they first had their, what was it called before it went to Peacock? Don't remember where you can get on to the WWE.
Just the network?
Yeah, the network. The network was so much easier because you can type in what you wanted to watch. If there was a certain match, you can just type in Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior and it'll pop up. Peacock is not set up that way. You're pretty much watching what they post. So you can't really search, particular matches or, and that sucks. But hopefully, like I said, Peacock loses that in a couple of years. So hopefully they go back to their own streaming service or something, because it was much better ran before Peacock. But a lot of people are talking today, since he did pass away, if they're finally going to put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was kicked out and blocked from coming into the Baseball Hall of Fame because he allegedly was gambling or placing bets against his team that he was managing, of course, the Reds. He never admitted to it for the longest time, but eventually he did admit to having a gambling problem. But they still banned him for life, is what it said. But unfortunately, play on words, for life, he passed. So hopefully they can get him into the Hall of Fame. I feel that he deserves it. He still holds the record for the most hits. I wrote it down: 4,256 hits. And the modern day age of baseball, I don't think anyone is ever going to break that.
No.
You know, because he had like 4 decades in baseball, and it's very rare that you get a player over 10 years now. Hell, used to be one pitcher would do all the innings, pitch everyone, and maybe have a closer. But now, in one game, you can have 3 or 4 different pitchers. So it's crazy how they kind of shortened the play for baseball players. So 4,256 hits. He was in 17 All-Star games, besides 3 World Series. 83 years old is what he was. It's definitely a shame. And something funny, too. Back in the day, when I was a kid, I used to collect baseball cards. And I quit for the longest time. And then this situation happened with Pete Rose. And I thought for sure that would make all of his baseball cards like priceless. So I went around and I tried to buy every single baseball card, not 10 of the same card, but every single card that he had made. And I even got like pins and stuff like that. And I got them in a box in the basement somewhere so, they don't get ruined. But, so hopefully, maybe, since he passed away, and hopefully gets put into the Baseball Hall of Fame, that those cards will start making me some money. Sad to say that because the gentleman passed away, but I was
That's how it works,
big collector. I was a big collector of his. So, let's see here. Really, nothing new on the wrestling front, like at the big companies.
I say the only real news I saw was it looked like Phoenix's contract was supposed to be up, but now they're adding injury time to it and extending it,
Yeah, that's
so he
kind
can't leave.
of a little hurt on that tag team going into the WWE.
Yeah.
But I heard WWE is already still making merch and everything, getting ready, getting prepared for him. So I guess they're just waiting for it to see when his contract truly expires.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the Vince McMahon documentary?
I have not, no.
All right. Well, there's really, we talked about it last week about if it was going to open up any secrets that we don't know about. And I'll tell you, every single thing that they touched on, if you had been a wrestling fan, you already knew. Not a single thing came up. I guess we kind of knew that there was a strain between him and Shane for a while. That's why Shane left. They did kind of talk a little bit more into why he left. And, it was just simple that, Shane wanted to make some changes. And literally McMahon said, over my dead body, and handed him a knife or a fork and said, stab it right here. Come on. He goes, if you're a real man, you would do it. And he goes,
You
but
want to
if you
make the
don't
changes
do
or
it,
not?
yeah, so, but other than that, they did what I thought they were going to do. They tiptoed around the allegations. They did bring it up a few times, like they would have it up and on the screen in writing. This person had filed suit against Vince McMahon, but they didn't go into any of the details about the suit. So literally, I think it was like 5 episodes or 6 episodes, but nothing new. Everything was, if you're a wrestling fan, you already knew everything they talked about. They talked
Well, you got to
about
think from like a business standpoint. It sounds like Raw is going to be like their flagship for their live programming. They're not going to want that breadwinner to be tainted, making that the face of their live.
Yeah, but there was rumors that Vince McMahon tried to buy the documentary off of Netflix to bury it. obviously those are just rumors because not a single thing in that documentary hurt him. You know, like I said, everything that was said in the documentary, everyone already knew. So it wasn't like they were trying to bury him or anything. They basically, they probably just took it off on Wikipedia and just ran the story based off of the Wikipedia of Vince McMahon. You know, it was.
So I wasn't that far off. They weren't going to do shit.
No, like I was telling Bobby, they tiptoed around the new allegations that are going on about him. Didn't go into any details, so nothing new that they were able to reveal or anything like that. And you kind of knew that, you know, just because it was, you know, it's an ongoing investigation, so they can't really talk about it. So, yeah, you can flash through some of these Pete Rose pictures. We already did talk about Pete Rose, him and Kane's feud. I really thought it was really cool, you know, because it wasn't every year that Pete Rose came out, but and there was another year there was like a surprise attack. You know, he was talking to Christian in the back, and they were going back and forth, and how Pete was going to get one over on Kane finally. And they were talking in front of Pete Rose's locker room. So when he opened the door, Kane was already in that locker room, and you know, closed the door and let the imagination run wild there of what Kane did to him. But it was, I always liked it. I thought it was very cool that he would come out. And totally shocked the very first time he got tombstoned by Kane because, you know, Pete Rose is such a legend. Regardless of him being banned from baseball, he was well known. And for him to get a tombstone by Kane, you know, it's just unheard of. But definitely a very cool little run that he had. I don't know. I guess he was deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame on the celebrity wing. You know, me and Bobby did talk about, you know, because he probably won't get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So at least he's in one
Which is
hall.
bullshit.
Well, as I told Bobby, you know, he was banned for life. Now, unfortunately, his life is over, so maybe they'll let him in. You know, you know, all he wanted to do was be in the Hall of Fame before he died. You know, so at least the Hall of Fame can say, you know, they lived that out. You know, he was never in the Hall of Fame while he was living, but now that the guy's passed, you know, he's got records out there that can't be broken. So, you know, I feel that he should be put in.
I always have felt he should be put in because they have people in the Hall of Fame now that did a lot worse things than Pete Rose. And
Right.
Pete Rose, it was never proven ever bet on any of his team's games. They have guys in there that did things against women. And they're in there, and they're still in there. They have guys that bet against their own team, and they're in there.
I don't know if you guys are ever New York Yankees fans, and I've never been a fan of the New York Yankees, but there's a documentary on the. It's kind of weird. I will watch the documentary on baseball, but could care less about actually watching baseball. But there's a particular year in this in the New York Yankees where so much crap was going on. I mean, there was a baseball player that was sleeping and eventually married an underage girl, and the Yankees used to do a yearly yearbook, and in that book had him and this underage girl in it. You know, saying that, you know, what a happy couple and all this stuff, and it was like so many weird shit has gone on in baseball that clearly they should let him in. But
I think it was personally, but
well, whoever was over baseball at that time, you know, did that to him and then died like a week or two later. And the next guy that took his spot said that he didn't want to reverse that decision in respect and honor to the previous guy. So, I mean, it's kind of bullshit. You don't even know what the circumstances was because you weren't in that guy's spot, but you just don't want to overturn it because out of respect. You know, it could have been a personal feud. You never know.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I mean, just like in WWE, you know, Vince McMahon, you know, they did tell the stories about him having a falling out with Hulk Hogan, having a falling out with The Undertaker, not Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, and then having a fallout with Sable. But magically, they all came back in because it was best for business. It's what was making them money. Yeah. You
Do you
know,
think they would have come back if the NWO hadn't started to fail?
on who?
Because it wasn't Hogan in that feud that had them start the New World Order?
Well, I mean, everyone from the NWO pretty much came back. You know, Kevin Nash came back, Scott Hall came back, Hulk Hogan came back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that didn't fail, do you think they would have come back?
If it would have failed,
If it didn't. Because they didn't WWE buy it when Hogan started that.
well, I mean, so Kevin Nash and Scott Hall started the NWO. Hulk Hogan became the third person, but it was a success. I mean, it got me to switch over from WWE to WCW because that was
when they were winning the ratings war too.
yeah, that's what started the actual winning of the ratings war. You know, what they failed to do is and it didn't happen quick, you know, because it was 93 weeks that WCW won. What killed it, I think, was they had like 90% of the roster in the NWO. So there was only, you know, certain people that 90% of the workers was going to work against. I think if they would have kept it to Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, maybe one or two more big guys in there and just ran it, you know, like a group of 5 or a group of 6 the whole time, I think we would still be talking more about the impact of the NWO. But they kind of overdid it and killed it. But yeah, Vince McMahon bought all the rights to the NWO when WCW fell. So Vinnie Mac owns everything. Well, I guess WWE owns it. But every single one of them, just about from the NWO, came over to WWE. You know, Buff Bagwell, even a guy that Triple H, you could say, hated, which was Scott Steiner, came back. You know, so you know they came back. They all had their second chance with him, but. And which actually you gotta praise that too, because then bringing back the NWO into the WWE, you know, because they did bring back Hall, Nash, and Hogan to do like a WWE, NWO invades WWE type thing. That's what got us The Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania, Icon versus Icon, and I tell you that is a great match to watch. There's
2002, right?
Huh?
Because I know NWO only lasted 4 years, and they had a one hit, and now they just do a bunch of reunions.
Yeah, I mean, at like Fan Fest and stuff like that, reunion wise, yeah. But when Vince brought those 3 in after WCW folded, the NWO thing didn't last because Scott Hall, unfortunately, was still under the influence. Kevin Nash got hurt again, and which basically left Hogan by himself. But that's when we got The Rock versus Hogan, like I said, Icon versus Icon. And that particular match, you can watch a documentary just on that match alone, because going into that match, Hogan was supposed to be the heel, and The Rock was supposed to be the baby face. But the crowd in the match turned Hulk Hogan baby and made The Rock heel. And in the match, and they tell you that they flipped the script so they would ride the wave with the audience, because the audience was so impactful in this match that there was no way The Rock can still maintain the baby type of character in the rest of the match, because they were just so far Hogan that they just totally switched it. Kind of like, I mean, it was planned when Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. That's also an iconic match. That's where we got the Bloodstone T-shirts from, because Bret Hart busted open Stone Cold. It was an I Quit match, and Stone Cold didn't quit. He passed out. Bret Hart was the baby at the time. Stone Cold was the heel. But it was a planned switch, which is very hard to do, to get both the opponents to switch, where Bret Hart, after the match, became the heel and Stone Cold became the fan favorite. But those are iconic matches. I guess the other one, not for the same theory, but another iconic match is Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man, WrestleMania 3. They actually said that match stole the show, and the headliner of that match was Hogan versus Andre. But they, even if you're a wrestler would say, Macho Man versus Steamboat, stole that WrestleMania, actually. But very.
I gotta be honest. The only Hogan Andre the Giant match I remember is when Hogan bench pressed Andre. That's the only thing I remember.
Taylor was able to bench press. You mean body slam him?
Push him off.
The funny thing is Andre had been body slammed 10 or 15 fucking times prior to Hogan body slamming him. As a matter of fact, Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant many a times before that match happened too.
I say Harley Race used to do it to him all the time.
Harley Race. There's videos of Kamala body slamming him. There's Bruiser Brody body slamming him. There's so many people. Giant Baba body slammed him. But when Hogan first went up to WWF, it might have been WWF at the time, because it was Vince's father. When Hogan was the heel, Andre was the guy that was taking Hulk Hogan around, and they were constantly wrestling each other, and Hogan would be body slamming him pretty much every fucking match. But thanks to the explosion of cable, and that was still a regional thing, they were able to pull it off. Like, oh no, he's never been slammed. And this was going to be the first time, pay-per-view wise, and that everyone would be able to see him get slammed, and not just in like a regional spot. Crazy stuff. Well, that's pretty much all I got for this, from my knowledge. I know October the 5th is going to be the big day for SICW. We talked about it prior to you getting on, Bobby, about how I was able to sit down with Herb and ask him some questions, but I really didn't get any answers from him, because he was like dancing around, giving me an answer, saying that there was I forgot
NDA.
and basically an NDA that he signed, saying that he couldn't talk about it until the 5th. So we showed the Stephen E. clip where he was talking about how he was going to change the name into Saudi Arabian, but he spelled it with an I. It was crazy.
They have a weird alphabet over there.
this Saturday,
You
everyone
got
that
to him.
is fans of SICW needs to make it down to the Belclair Fairgrounds, so that way they can see this historic signing of this contract. Is Herb selling the promotion? Is he not? Is there other backers? At the Shriners thing this past Sunday, there's people coming up to him and say, "Hey, before you sell it to Stephen E, let me see how much he's going to offer you for, because I would prefer to buy it before you sell it to him." And these are just fans of SICW. So it'd be interesting to see what Herb does. We've seen videos of his wife and his daughter talking about how they think he won't do it. But, he himself has posted different things saying, what if Stephen E does? Like, he's throwing out these questions, again, with no answers. So it's going to be interesting. I know what my match is. I guess you're going to throw an open challenge out. I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
the tag titles will be on the line. So come on out, this Saturday, October 5th. Same back room in the fairgrounds. Always doors open at 6, starts at 7. We're back home, basically, back home at the fairgrounds. So it'd be great to come back home. But I guess that's it. That's all I got. You guys want to talk about anything else?
No,
No, I
mine was
gotta
about the 28th.
say, come on out this Saturday. Let me get this open challenge thrown out there and see what I got.
One other thing. I always do this at the end, and I almost forgot about it. I got this in the mail
Bobby,
today.
The
Bobby
classy
Heenan.
Freddie Blassie.
Yes, that is him.
Oh, Freddie, I thought it was Bobby Heenan.
No. This guy
Way
was very
classier.
well known for one slogan, and that was calling his opponents. At this point, he was a manager, so he would be calling his managers' opponents pencil neck geeks. That was his favorite slogan. But he was also called, when he was a wrestler, they used to call him a vampire, because he did have some sharp teeth, and if he bit you, he actually drew blood. And there was a bunch of matches that he wrestled. I don't know if it was his gimmick back then or not, but he would bite you with those fang-like teeth, and he would draw blood on you. So they actually called him a vampire too. But there's also a very good speech that he gave when WWE did buy WCW, and they were doing the wars, WWE versus WCW, where the Undertaker actually rolled him out. Of course, he was up in the age by then, and Undertaker rolled him out in a wheelchair, and he gave this football type of speech, saying basically, you guys need to fight for the business that gave you all the, that they gave you, and really fired up everyone. And supposedly this speech is what got to Stone Cold, because Stone Cold was like trying to stay out of the WCW, WWE internal war. But that speech is what actually got Stone Cold to go out there with WWE guys and beat up on the ECW, WCW guys that they had going on. But yeah, got him in the mail today, so that was kind of cool. Still way off from finishing that collection again. But every new figure that I get brings back some memories, so that's always good. But all right, I'm going to call it. Everyone from the Squared Ring Podcast. Oh, I hate to do it again. Not our breaking news, but last week's episode where we talked about Vince McMahon and Netflix is our highest rated podcast. It's been our highest rated for quite some time. It's saying that the other podcasts weren't getting the views. So I don't know if we finally broke the algorithm where we're back in. But I would like to thank you guys for tuning in and making that one of our highest viewed podcasts in such a long time. So I appreciate that. I'm sure YouTube appreciate it too. Hopefully this one ranks up there as well. I know we're kind of cutting the podcast into a smaller, like, sometimes we go over an hour. I think this one's over an hour, but we try to keep it to an hour. That way we can throw you some information about everything and then get out of your life for a while. You know, I think people don't like 3 hour, 4 hour podcasts, and I think that hurts a lot of people. So if we can cram the information we got for you in an hour, I think that's kind of perfect. But thank you again for last week making that one of the highest viewed ones that we've had in such a long time. But like always, I plead with you, if you like this information that we throw at you, please like, share, comment. It means the world to us because we love doing this. We all love wrestling, and this is just another way that we can kind of keep on being in that same organizational style for wrestling and, sharing what we love. So everyone from the Squared Ring Podcast, you guys have a good night. And please like, share, and comment. Thank you, bud. See you guys.
You guys.
Adios.